So here are some tips and tricks on how to replace a heater hose on your 2014 Ford Focus ST. And these are the coolant hoses that go from the engine to the heater core for the cabin. I've been having some leaks on mine, which I identified, so I'll be replacing one of these hoses. To get started, you're going to want to pull out your air filter and the entire air box here, your entire clean air intake, including the crossover tube and the pipe that goes down to the turbo. You'll want to move the coolant reservoir out of your way for access to getting the stuff back there. And then it also helps a lot if you remove the sound symposer. Pulling off the sound symposer is really easy. You've got an inlet and an outlet hose. Both of those just pull right off. And then it's mounted to the battery box with a simple T25 Torx bit on one side, and in the back there where you can't see is a little push-in fastener. So take that T25 Torx out, and then you can just rip the whole sound symposer off the battery box. So on the left side of the car here, I've already taken off the intake. So this heater hose connection is right at the firewall behind the engine. And these two rubber hoses with the green stripes on them, those are your heater hoses. And you get this leak right at the firewall there, right at that connection. These heater hoses have a special twist lock connection in a couple places, which is probably great for manufacturing, but that's where the leak is happening. And it's not an easy connection to undo on a car that's been sitting around for several years. So you'll want to get your ducks in a row and pick up one of these little handy tools. This is from Lyle. It's a Ford heater hose disconnect tool. So this is going to help you undo that twist lock without breaking it and making the hose almost impossible to get off. This is part 39200. So this first hose that's on the left side here, that runs up over and terminates right around the sound symposer. So if I come in right over here, it's this hose right here. That's that first one, that first hose on the left. And the other hose on the right comes back down and sits a little bit lower, and it's got one of those twist lock fittings. So if you can see where I've got the screwdriver down here, it's kind of behind the sound symposer pipe. But right in there, that's the end of that right hand heater hose. This is what the hose looks like when it's installed in your car before you take it off. So what you're trying to do with your tool is take this little gray piece with the tabs and just rotate it over like that. And then once it's all the way over, which you can tell it's over once that little tab internally is all the way over, you can take the hose, give it just a little clockwise turn, and then it'll pop off. So that's what we're going to do down here. Okay, so even with that fancy dancy little clippy tool, this space down here makes it really hard to get these connections undone. So on this left side heater hose, I'm going to show you how I do it. This is not easy, and you want to be really careful you don't break off the barb from your heater core. But I'm taking some adjustable pliers and just getting them right around the edge of the clip that needs to rotate, and then very gently just twisting it over until it unlocks. Another option, more gentle than the channel locks, some soft jaw pliers. Okay, so now I've got that gray clip turned over to the left, and I'm going to take the whole hose gently with my channel locks and just rotate it over clockwise. So you can see it's moved over there like that. And once I do that, I can go ahead and pull it off. And of course, you're going to have that nice coolant come splashing out of here. So just be aware, once you pop that off, this is going to drain out a bit. So be ready with some extra coolant to top off your car once the job's done. Okay, and then you've got this little retention clip that clips both hoses together. To get that apart at the bottom here, you're just gonna, if you're standing on the left side of the car, you're just gonna pull the edge of this clip over to you, and that'll let these hoses free. There's also a little swivel clamp right here. This is on the left-hand heater hose. It'll come pre-assembled on your replacement part. And if you look down here, it just ties those two heater hoses together. So you'll just want to unclip those down there as well. Okay, still working on that left-hand heater hose. If you're a Scotty Kilmer, you probably have some fancy tool to undo this clip, but if not, just take your pliers and you're just going to squeeze it till that clip locks, and then you're going to pop this hose right off. Okay, so the way you get your new hose on is you're going to make sure these tabs are in the unlocked position. You're going to rotate the hose just a little bit clockwise before you slide it on, get it all the way on there, and then the whole hose assembly is going to go clockwise a little bit, counterclockwise, and then you can lock the tabs. And just give it a tug, make sure it's on all the way and it's locked. This one's good. All right, then we're going to make sure that this clip back here is securing both the hoses, and you're just going to snap that back into place. Real easy. Now remember, there's a little swivel clamp in the back there that ties the heater supply and return lines together. Make sure that gets clipped. And then this little clip here is pre-assembled to your hose. You're just going to want to snap that shut. And if you don't know how to do that, I'll show you real quick. So these little clips come pre-assembled, and all you've got to do on the back side of that clip is get this little bar through the hole that's keeping this clip held open. And the way you're going to do that is once that hose is on the barb, you're going to take some pliers and pretty simply you're just going to squeeze it, and you're going to just try to wiggle that clip just like that until it's able to close, and it will close automatically and you're done. So that's it. And I only did that one heater hose. If you were going to do the other one, you'll follow the same steps. Disconnect each end, pull it out, replace it, make sure everything gets connected back up the way it's supposed to be. For me now, the next step is going to be putting in the intake pipe to the turbo, the crossover pipe, the air box, and also reconnecting and installing the sound composer. That's it. Make sure you start your car and idle it for a little while, and then take a flashlight and go look at those couplings. Make sure they're not leaking while the car's running.